And good morning at 7:04 on this Tuesday, January 30th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome here on a Tuesday morning. Temperature just below freezing, at least at my house. And in my car, it was 31. The house said 30. So a little frost this morning as well. But we welcome you to our program. And, of course, it's presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Got a special program this morning, and I'll tell you more after we talk about Vanderbilt Wilson. Being prepared for a health emergency can make all the difference in a life-threatening situation. Before an emergency strikes, create a list of friends and family members who can drive you to the hospital if needed. Keep an up-to-date medication list stored on your phone or in your wallet so clinicians can accurately provide the right care and medicine. Symptoms that indicate a health emergency include severe chest pain, signs or symptoms of stroke, major trauma such as a head injury, severe pain of any kind, and abrupt changes in mental status. When it comes to your health, it's always best to play it safe. For more information, you can visit VanderbiltWilsonCountyHospital.com. And we want to remind you that you are invited to an open house tomorrow, Wednesday, January 31st, from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Vanderbilt Orthopedics, Lebanon, 1405 West Padua Parkway, Suite 102. So please join them for the official ribbon cutting and a chance to meet the new physicians, Hunter Hood, Lance McClear, and Sean Patel. Refreshments will be provided. And again, that's tomorrow, open house, Vanderbilt Orthopedics, Lebanon, Wednesday, January 31st, 11:30 to 12:30. All right, this morning, your guest host is really going to be Randy Salas, who's the voice of the Cumberland Phoenix. And he has two guests that he'll introduce. He's going to be asking the questions. I'm just going to sit here and tell him when it's time for a break and keep things in order. Randy, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman, and thanks so much for allowing us to have this time on your show. As I was telling one of our guests earlier, it's the most popular show on this station, and for you and Susie James to let us have this is a very nice thing.
We're happy to do it. We love Cumberland, too.
I know you do, no question about that. We like to call this show Batter Up. It's our preseason kickoff show. We start playing here pretty quick, and it's kind of a way to get our fans ready for the season. Hopefully gain a few new fans. And, hey, even, we've got some fans listening that may not typically listen to the Coleman and Company show every day. Maybe you'll gain some new fans out of this.
That would be nice.
Anyway, brought a couple of people with me today. Had to go to the bullpen. We're supposed to have Coach Ryan Hunt, the head coach here. He called me this morning about 6:15, and he's taken ill. He had laryngitis so bad I couldn't even tell who he was. But I had to last second fill in. We went to the bullpen, and we got our hitting coach, Pat Bell, here with us. Pat, thank you for joining us on short notice.
I'm glad I could be here.
Also, we have a player with us, Tim Hollick, a senior infielder from Nanaimo, British Columbia. Thanks a lot for being here, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
The Cumberland Phoenix baseball team opens up this coming Friday, February 2nd, in Babson Park, Florida, against the 12th-ranked Weber International Warriors. At noon Central Time, we go on the air at 11:40. You can hear that game, and the one follows it. We'll play a doubleheader Friday, a doubleheader Saturday on 1490 AM. You can also hear it on WANTFM.com, or you can hear it on the Cumberland website, GoCumberlandAthletics.com. So let's get right into it. Coach Bell, you first. We're going to wrap up last season. Put a bow on that, and then we're going to move on to this coming season. The team last year finished 36-15, 20-5 in the Mid-South Conference, good for second place, third in the Mid-South Conference tournament. And we reached the national playoffs for the first time since 2018. We were ranked in the top 25, had two All-Americans, Cole Turney and Tyner Hughes, for the first time since 2014. 125 home runs, third all-time in program history. 2.4 homers per game was the best all-time. And mainly, we got back to national relevance. Now, Coach Ryan Hunt, if he were here, and former Coach Woody Hunt, if he were here, would agree, and you will too, that the goal of this program every year is the World Series, and we fell short of that. However, that being said, last year has to be considered a success, wouldn't you think?
I mean, absolutely. Nobody likes to lose. There's only one team that's happy at the end of the year. But it was definitely a a good building block for this year. Some of these returners got a taste of what the national stage is like. So I think that, is going to curtail into some good leadership this year, through the players knowing what to do, what it takes to get there, and what it's going to take to ultimately win it.
Absolutely. And again, like I said, our goal is the World Series, and this Cumberland program has been there so many times. But
and you've won 3 of them.
And won 3 of them. And won it 3 times, runner-up twice. But we became nationally relevant again last year. And you mentioned leadership right there. And that leads me to my next question for Tim Hollick. Tim's senior infielder from Canada. Tim, we lost just about all of our top players from last year. Cole Turney, Tyner Hughes, Chewy Sanders, Santrell Farmer, Trevor Mootsie, Reed Bass, guys that have been around here a long time. We have almost 30 new players this year. You seem to have assumed more of a leadership role this year as a senior, and that's going by what I've seen myself in fall practice and so far in January practices. And from what the coaches have told me, you've assumed more of a leadership role as a senior. Talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, so just kind of had to take over for the guys who, again, left, and I think they did a good job preparing all of the guys who still came back. I think we got a good, still solid core of returners, and I think they're carrying the tradition pretty well for the guys that, left.
And I guess last year was your first year here. You were kind of feeling your way. And now, with a room full of new guys, you're kind of the old hand. You and a couple others. I'm not saying you're the only leader on the team, correct, Coach?
No, definitely not.
But you're one of the leaders on the team. And I guess you just feel like, hey, somebody's got to do it. Huh?
Yeah, for sure. Just to carry the tradition and make sure that all the new guys understand what the program is about here.
Let's talk about some of those returners. Coach Bell, Tim Hollick here. Last year had a good year, 290 average, 16 home runs, 68 RBIs. Another returner who had a great year, D. Triplett, first base, 361 average, 17 homers, 76 runs batted in, walked 41 times. Ian Crump, Trent Dukeshire also played a lot, got a lot of playing time. From the pitching staff, Ethan Torres had a great year last year. He's back. Reed Madariaga won 7 games. He's back. There are others. We can't name everybody. Talk about those guys a little bit, those returning players.
Well, the returners are going to have to be a big piece of what we do this year. Guys like Tim and D right here, that are going to be everyday guys in the lineup. Go along with guys like Brandon Boxer who came back. I think they're going to be essential for us to have it, to win this year. But with these guys and the handful of new guys that we brought in, I think it's going to be a good mix, and it's gonna turn out well for us. But guys like Tim and D, what you're going to get with them. You know that they're going to give you solid at bats. They're going to work hard. So those are guys you don't have to worry about.
Well, and you mentioned Brandon Boxer, and I was going to get to Brandon. Because my next point was that the injury bug has kind of already hit us. We've got 3 guys that are already out for the season. One being Drew Dalton, who was a utility player last year, and we were going to count heavily on Drew this year, and he's injured, out for the year already. And then 2 pitchers that we're going to rely on, Ryan Calvert and Dylan Bland, both out for the year. Yeah. So those are negatives, and those things happen. They happen throughout the season. On the other hand, we returned Brandon Boxer, who was an important player last year. Brandon hit 262 with 4 homers and 13 RBIs in very limited playing time.
And was playing most of the year injured.
Most of the year injured till finally he decided to have surgery. He's back and looking really, really good. He had a good fall, did he not?
He did. He had a very good fall.
And Alex Smith, who was one of our better pitchers year before last. And last year I think he had 2 outings, hurt his arm, and was done for the year. But Alex will be back. So talk about those guys a little bit.
Well, Alex in 22 was, a weekend rotation guy for us. Through a lot of innings, very effective innings. So getting him back is going to be huge for us moving forward. Brandon Boxer, he's an older guy. He's been around the college game for a long time. He's one of those COVID kids that got 2 years eligibility back and had redshirted. So he's been around, and he knows what he's going to see. He knows what's expected, and he knows what is in front of him. So in terms of leadership and in terms of returner, that's going to be huge throughout our lineup. the entire year.
I agree. And Tim, wouldn't you agree that, I said you're one of the leaders on the team. Brandon Boxer is also a leader on this team. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. He's, again, brought that maturity and experience to our newer lineup, right? So I think he's just going to be a good leader during the middle of the season and stuff like that, and making sure that we just stay confident in ourselves.
And Brandon can play a lot of positions.
Absolutely, yes.
Time for a break?
Well, we are. Our program is featuring Cumberland Phoenix today, and we have Randy Salas, who is their play-by-play announcer, asking all the questions of Pat Bell, who's a coach, and Tim Hollick, who's one of the players. And we'll talk more after we go to the break here, reminding you our program presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And this is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota. High performance, high horsepower, 0% financing is still a thing. Now is the best time to save on new Kubota L-Series tractors, rated #1 for durability and owner experience in the U.S. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. They continue to clean up this crash in Rutherford County. Pretty serious injuries from what we understand from the Highway Patrol on 24 westbound at Joby Jackson. It's headed slow eastbound, but eastbound finally starting to move a little bit better in the last 10 minutes or so. But westbound's been shut down for a while. Again, what a mess, creating problems for folks coming out of Coffee County, trying to get up through this section of Rutherford County on 24 West, again at Joby Jackson. It's building pretty good now on Vietnam Vets, headed towards Conference Drive. Princess Hot Chicken has you covered for the big game coming up with catering. Check them out at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
And we continue here on this Tuesday morning, and Randy Salas back to you.
Thank you, Coleman. Again, we've got as guest Cumberland hitting coach Pat Bell sitting in for head coach Ryan Hunt, who got a little laryngitis this morning and sounds pretty bad. We hope he gets better because we got to go to Florida here in about 3 days. Also, senior infielder Tim Hollick has joined us, and I got a clip that I want to play. Tim Hollick, you were known last year to Cumberland fans for 2 things. So let's play that clip. Tim Hollick is the hitter now. Oh, and Hollick is hit for the 3rd consecutive time. Mr. and Ms. Hollick, they don't like your boy for some reason. I don't know why. Brings up Tim Hollick, and he knows a little something about getting hit by pitch. He got hit 3 times yesterday in the first game. Hollick yesterday 0 for 3 with 1 walk and 3 hit by pitch. That ball's well hit left center field. It's well hit. I mean, really well hit. And it is out of here. That's a grand slam home run for Tim Hollick over the Phoenix side, just left of the hitter's eye. That's the way to get it done right there, Tim Hollick. Well, and there you go. You were known for getting hit by pitches, and you were known for hitting grand slams. You hit 3 last year. Tell us about that. I mean, it's kind of...
You called that pretty well. I didn't hear that when it happened. That's great. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Tim got hit, I don't know how many times, but he led the team in getting hit by pitching. Like I said, that one game 3 times in a row. Why do you get hit by pitches so much? And listen, that's a good thing. Maybe not to you, but we like it because you get on base.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think I've always crowded the plate just to make the pitcher feel a little bit uncomfortable, throwing it on the inside half. And usually, eventually, they run one in and usually get me a couple times per year. So
yeah, more than a couple.
Yeah.
Well, how do you explain the 3 grand slams you hit last year? That's a lot of grand slams in 51 games.
Most people don't hit that in a lifetime.
That's right.
Yeah. So, well, I just had a lot of guys in front of me there, usually batting 7. They're pretty terrified of the first 6 batters. So They usually kind of tired by then, so they usually serve me up something pretty good that I could help the team with. So.
Well, and speaking of the hit by pitch, Coach Bell, you and I talked about this last year. That's kind of something that I don't want to say you teach it, but you certainly teach them to, hey, look, that's a way to get on base, and you certainly don't teach them to shy away from it. We talked about it last year.
We definitely, one of the things we teach is, get your toes on the chalk, as we say, is basically crowd the plate, get up in there, make the pitcher establish the inside, make him prove that he can come inside to you, and if he can't, he's going to hit you, and boom, we got a free base.
Well, and Tim just said, we had a lot of guys on base in front of him last year, and that is true. I don't know how many times you came to bat with the bases loaded, but I know at least 3 of those times you hit it over the fence, and that's good. And you said they were, teams didn't want to pitch to our first 6 hitters, and you were usually in the 7 hole. But in Coleman, you'll find this interesting. Last year, our team hit 125 homers, which is 3rd best all time, but the best in homers per game. Well, the 2 All-Americans, Cole Turney and Tyner Hughes, had 32 and 22. And then I think a young man from the Cumberlands was next in the conference. Then after that was D. Triplett. After that was Tim Hollick. So we had 4 of the top 5 home run hitters in the conference. Tim hit 16, which was good for 5th. Well, he would have been second on any other team behind his teammate D. Triplett. So anyway, my point is he hit 16, and that kind of gets overshadowed. That's a lot of home runs for a 7-hole hitter.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so
I'm impressed.
We're counting on that again. And of course, we've got no idea how many home runs we're going to hit this year. We don't know if we're going to have the power we did last year. We lost a lot of really good players who hit a lot of home runs. But speaking of that, and of course, I had these questions prepared for Coach Ryan Hunt, who's not here, and Pat Bell's here. But last year, Coach Hunt said on the Batter Up program, which is what we call this preseason program, that he had a personal goal of the team stealing 100 bases. And we did that. We stole 103. I was going to ask him, but now I'll ask you, does this team, does Coach Hunt or you or any of the other coaches have any goals like that for the team this year?
Well, that's almost a set team goal every year. That's our goal, to get to 100 stolen bases every single year, regardless of what the team we. Now, as the season progresses and you realize what kind of team you have, the team starts to find an identity. It might not be stolen bases, so you might not get to that number. The past couple of years, we've, yes, we got to 100 stolen bases, but we've also relied on the long ball, the past couple of years. So, the stolen bases hadn't been as important. I don't want to say important because they are important, but as highlighted as everything else. This year might not be the same case. What you said, losing Cole Turney and Tyner Hughes, a lot of home runs out of the lineup. It might be we have to steal a lot of bases, move to small ball when Tim and D aren't up. You never know.
Right, and you do what you have to do.
Exactly.
Tim, speaking of that, do you have any personal goals that you have set this year for yourself or team goals?
Yeah, so kind of personal goals. I just I really want to be, again, you talked about leadership. I just want to make sure that I'm leading the younger guys to having a successful season, and also just making sure that everyone stays on track with the big goal again, and making the playoffs, and then hopefully making the World Series. So those are really just the goals I have in mind now. So I've been around for a while and done all the solo goals. So I'm just happy to try to win as a team here now. So.
Well, and that's what the program's all about. And we've talked about this over and over. I talk about it on the air all the time. I'm a stat guy. I love stats. I love numbers. I love talking about them. I love all that. But this program is not about stats. This program is about wins and losses, specifically wins, and that's what it's about. And if you came here, and I'm not speaking to you, Tim, just speaking rhetorically, if you came here to hit a bunch of home runs or to make All-American or whatever, and your number one goal is not winning, you're probably at the wrong place, right, Coach Bell?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Program comes first.
Yeah, absolutely. This year's team, Tim Hollick, has players from 18 states and 6 different countries, including Venezuela, Australia, Japan, Puerto Rico, and, of course, Tim, you're from Canada. Tell us what it's like having teammates from all these different places. Is it fun learning about the different backgrounds of these guys? Does it make it harder for the team to gel? Talk about that just a little bit. About that. That's kind of unusual. 6 different countries. That's a lot. 18 states. That's a lot. Guys are from all over.
Yeah, for sure. I actually think it's better, honestly. I like it a lot. It just diverses the locker room a lot, and I think just bringing again everyone's different playing style together just really lets other guys have a different outlook on like their own games. So, but I mean, at junior college, I had about 10 Australians when I first got there, so it was a pretty big culture shock there alone, being in Montana, but having 10 Australians. So I'm pretty used to the players from everywhere in the locker room.
Coach Bell, how do you get players from all over the place? You're one of the top recruiters.
Well, it depends. A lot of the times, it's just knowing somebody. It's having a contact. It's a player knows a player, or a coach reaches out and says, "Hey, we know this guy," or we know this guy, and that's usually how we get those players, because we don't just being here in Old Lebanon, Tennessee, we don't see a lot of these international players like that. It's a lot of secondhand information that we're getting just from contacts throughout the game.
And contacts that you trust.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it's not like football where you can go back and watch film. I mean, there is film, but it's not the same, right?
I can watch film on somebody all day, but I'm going off what their coach is telling me.
Right. You just about have to. How has all the rain and snow affected preparations this year? I know we got to be at a disadvantage going down to Florida to play these teams. It's been down there in 80-degree weather.
Well, it's definitely thrown a wrinkle into the practice plans, but it's like I've told the guys, it's like I've told people, it's not going to be your first. It might be your first time stepping foot on the field in 2024, but it's not your first time stepping on a baseball field ever. Not your first time playing the game ever. You're going to know what to do when we get down there. Going into it thinking that this is a disadvantage is not what we're going to preach. It is what it is. Go down there and win the baseball game.
Yeah, and teams all across the country have to deal with the same thing.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the schedule. 33 home games, which is great.
Love it.
Schedule's pretty tough, as it always is. By my count, we've got 18 games against teams that made the playoffs last year. We've got 7 games against teams that made the World Series. But that's how a team gets better, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't get better playing teams you're going to beat badly every
Absolutely.
time. Is there any particular games that you guys are pointing to that you look at the schedule and say, I'm ready, I want those guys?
There's not a specific one that I point to. That's usually more towards conference. I'll look towards, a couple conference opponents where I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to that weekend. That's going to be a big weekend. But in terms of, starting the season out right here, I'm just looking forward to playing good teams and, hopefully coming out there and running a good product out on the field.
What about you, Tim?
Again, just I don't really worry who the opponent is usually. Again, you're kind of playing against yourself usually. Playing against the ball is what my old coaches used to say. So, again, just making sure that we play our game, and I don't think we'll have any problems this year with anyone.
Well, that surprises me from both of you, because I figured both of you would say Tennessee Wesleyan.
Oh, well.
Because that's the team that knocked us out of the national playoffs last year in a classic game that we won't go into.
See, I've blocked that one out, so.
Conveniently forgotten all about that. But we want those guys. I want them anyway. I look forward to playing those guys. And something new this year that I want to announce here, and you may have heard the promo on the radio station that Coach Bell did in Coleman. You'll appreciate this. As a way of thanking and recognizing all the men and women who've served the United States military, Cumberland is going to offer free admission to all home baseball games to every veteran. And Coach Bell himself is a 10-year veteran of the United States Air Force. And he came up here a week or so ago, and we did some promos that I think they've been running on the air, telling people that. And we want people to know. We want people to come out to the 6 and watch us play.
Well, that's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it is. We open, as we said, this Friday, against number 12 ranked team in the country, Weber International in Florida, and Warner University. We'll play each of those teams on Friday. We'll play each of those teams on Saturday. The following weekend, February 9th and 10th, is our home opener against Indiana Wesleyan. Indiana Wesleyan was a World Series team last year.
They were.
And they came up here and had a 3-game series with us last year. That was it 4?
Tied 1, lost 3.
Okay, yeah. Great series. We didn't win one of them, but one of the games went 12 innings. Darkness got us. Had to call it a tie. Going to be a good series. So we want everybody to listen here in Lebanon. Put that on your calendar. February 9th, which is a week from this Friday, 11 a.m. doubleheader, 11 a.m. Saturday doubleheader. And of course, if you can't make it to the ballpark, you can listen on 1490 AM WCOR, 98.9 WANT-FM, or go CumberlandAthletics.com or WANTFM.com. 4 platforms our games are on. And if you're a veteran of the U.S. military, all you got to do is show up at the gate, tell them you're a veteran, and free admission. And we hope all our veterans take advantage of that. It's been fun. It's gone by quick, Coleman. But again, thank you for allowing us to do this, and thank you, Susie James. She's around here somewhere.
Well, I've enjoyed sitting here listening this morning. You've had some great questions, and it's really a pleasure to meet both of you, Coach Pat Bell and Tim Hollick. And Tim, we're expecting great things out of you this year.
No pressure, though.
Appreciate you letting us come here.
That's it for Batter Up, and that's it for Coleman and Company Part 1, presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. We'll get a reminder of the open house tomorrow, Wednesday, January 31st, 11:30 to 12:30 at the Vanderbilt Orthopedics Lebanon. We've got more, so keep it here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford. Get a battery installed on most vehicles. $149.95. Bates Ford, 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Cleanup continues on this serious accident that happened earlier out here in Rutherford County, 24 westbound at Joby Jackson. It's been shut down for quite some time. Again, THP continues to work this accident with their accident reconstruction team. That's how serious it is. Traffic's really heavy now at Vietnam Vets coming westbound right at Conference Drive. It's building pretty good through Hermitage right now, westbound I-40 at Central Pike, because you got all that traffic behind it coming in from Wilson County. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Middle Tennessee. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. They're online, tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
The cozy warmth after coming in from a chilly, pink-cheeked morning walk. The perfect man cave temperature to kick back and watch the big game. When the weather turns cold, a new Rheem heating system will surround your family in total comfort. Are you feeling it? Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Feel year-round comfort with a new HVAC system installed by the pros at Randy's Heat and Air. We're the local team you can trust. Call Randy's Heat and Air today at 615-237-3604.
Where a patient starts their cancer care matters. And here, that means Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center, Wilson County. It's Vanderbilt level care without making the drive to Nashville. From screening to diagnosis to treatment and recovery, patients can get all the care they need right here close to home. So now, having the best care team and most advanced treatment is closer than ever. Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center, making cancer care personal.
1.5 seconds left, no timeouts. Here's your season. Negron gives it to Bird. Bird for the win. It's gone! He got it! College Hoops is back, and so is Cumberland University on the radio. Join me, John Boyce, in the booth for every Mid-South Conference game this regular and postseason for both men's and women's Phoenix basketball. Conference games are every Thursday starting at 5:30 and every Saturday starting at 1 o'clock. Phoenix basketball is right here on 98.9. Cumberland's a winner.
It's tax time, and Cars Unlimited Tax Service is locally owned and has 33 years of experience in preparing taxes. They do upfront loans of $250 to $6,000. They're also an authorized IRS e-file provider. Call 615-449-2955 or stop by 1006 West Main Street in Lebanon. Cars Unlimited Tax Service stands ready to help you prepare your taxes.
Partly sunny skies across our region this afternoon, expecting a high around 55 degrees. South winds could gust up to 20 miles per hour at times through the day. Slight chance of showers before midnight tonight, otherwise mostly cloudy, back down to 34. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. Let's look at your forecast. I'm Stormy Clausen.
Welcome to part 2 of Coleman and Company. It's a Tuesday. Tuesdays means it's time for a visit from Sean Dozier. And we love to see Sean walk in the door each Tuesday. Sean is Executive Director of Hearthside Senior Living. He's always got a good story to tell and loves to talk about Hearthside. He's the Executive Director there. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. I love to walk in those doors every Tuesday. Love to see you and Susie and MJ and Billy and whoever else is here. It's like it's like a family here, I'd say. I see you more than I see you more than I do my own family.
We sort of become family, really. It's a relationships a weekly relationship that's created.
It is. It really is. It really is. And Susie's done a good job with the radio station, and Harside's glad to be a sponsor, and will continue to be a sponsor. We're glad to be here. I was thinking driving over, who we've helped this week, and we've helped a couple of people that I'd like to talk about. One is a couple that most of our families are from around here, as we like to say. I'd say 90% of our residents are from around here, these parts. But every once in a while, we'll get somebody who has moved here from another place. And this gentleman and his wife have moved here from Illinois. And they were looking at several different assisted livings, and they finally ended up with us. And we were able to do a Zoom call yesterday to see his mother up in an assisted living up there, actually in Chicago. And she was doing great. She transfers. She's independent, and she does great. She just needs a little help every now and then. And so we were able to watch her on Zoom and able to say, you're good to go. So she's going to move down here this month, or actually in February, a couple of days. So I'm excited about that. We were able to help them. When you're not from here, you don't know who to trust, who to call, who to see. And so I was glad they settled on us, and we were able to get her a small room rather quickly. And so we were able to help them this week. And then I was thinking about another couple that walked in yesterday. They live in a large subdivision here in town, and they're not ready to move into independent living community yet, but they're thinking down the road a little bit, maybe 3 to 5 years. And we have a wait list for that independent living community. So I said that's really good that you're thinking down the road, and you want to be on our list, because we probably wouldn't be able to get to you until then. But we were able to talk about different things and different options that they might have in the future, and they have some issues with their health that might prevent them from living where they are now. So they were checking us out, and they wanted to be on the list. I took them through a 3-bedroom home, and they were just thrilled with the amenities and with the layout. And so they said, sign us up. So those two situations, every week we're able to help people and able to give them some advice. Even if we're not, what they need, we can recommend other places that they can look. But I was glad to help them out this week.
Well, really, Hearthside has so much to offer. I mean, we go over a lot of this, not everything every week, but one of the things that I personally like just to hear you say is you pretty much have a bottom line, and you don't get nickeled and dimed to death.
Yeah, that's right. When we talked to the folks from out of town who'd recently moved here, we were able to give them one price. They're assisted living up in Chicago. They were telling me they nickel and dime you. They charge you for every little thing. They actually even charge you if you're sick to deliver a meal to your room. They charge $50 to deliver a meal to your room if you're sick. So they were thrilled that we don't do that, and we don't charge for medication management. We don't charge for extra for housekeeping or laundry or a Wi-Fi or cable. All that's included in one price. And so that's one of the reasons they chose us. And I think a lot of people will choose us, and we do have a small waiting list now for our assisted living because of just what you're saying.
Well, we do like to say Hearthside when it's time for a helping hand, and that helping hand covers a lot of territory, actually.
Well, we try to. We have 44 residents in our assisted living, and we have about 60 residents in our independent living, and they all have my cell phone number. And so if there's an emergency, like during the snow we had a couple weeks ago, we're always there for them. And I think that makes a big difference when they know that they can contact somebody, whether it's our maintenance person, whether it's our kitchen, whether it's me. We're always there for them, and that makes a world of difference. When they know your name, when they know your number, I tell you, Coleman, it makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the number, 615-443-1994 is the number for Hearthside.
1994, the year we started, 30 years. We'll be celebrating that in October and November of this year, so I look forward to that. But a lot of things coming this year that I'm excited about.
All right. Well, we're excited to know who the Hearthside Hello is.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned a gentleman who came back to us after his wife passed away, and I don't think I gave the name, but I'll give the name today. It's Charles Lanius. Charles worked at PFG for many, many years. A lot of people know Charles Lanius, and his wife passed away a couple of weeks ago, but he wanted to come back to Hearthside, and I saw him this morning at breakfast, and I said, I'm going to give you a Hearthside hello. And he said, okay, I'll be listening. So Charles is listening this morning, and I wanted to tell him hello, and glad he's back at Hearthside.
Well, I remember him all the way back in high school and when he had business over on South Main.
A lot of people know him. A lot of people know him.
Okay, well, Sean, thanks so much. We'll do it again next Tuesday.
Thank you, Coleman.
All right. Sean Dozier, Executive Director, Hearthside Senior Living, 215 Castle Heights Avenue North, right here in Lebanon, Tennessee. All right, we are ready to get going with my guest this morning, who is here to talk about Harris Trading Company, and that's located at 1331 Sparta Pike, just south of the Watertown exit on I-40. James Franklin Van Hook, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a little bit of a frosty morning, a little bit on the cool side, but
not like a couple of weeks ago,
oh,
though, right?
Boy. How did all that go for you?
Well,
you survived.
We survived. Of course, it affected foot traffic on people wanting to come in and just browse. We had a few people that needed specific equipment for clearing snow and such and they called to see if you have it, and if you did, they're on the way to get it. Mm-hmm. It was like an emergency situation.
Well, what do you have for clearing snow?
Well,
we'll probably have another snow or two. I hope we don't have one as big as the last one.
That's correct. Primarily for our construction skid steer equipment, we have the buckets. For snow, particularly, they're high volume, but not necessarily as heavy weight, so they're not heavy on the equipment, but because they can push snow, it's a lighter material. You know, it's not like moving dirt and rock. So we have special buckets for that. You have rear blades and box blades for tractors. We have spreaders where the people bought us out of the pull-behind spreaders real quick for spreading salt on their parking lots and such. Yeah.
Now, most of that for rent or for sale, or both?
Both, mostly. Most of that stuff I was just mentioning was on the sales side.
Okay.
But people were calling and inquiring about equipment for rental to push the snow, and some came through with that, and some making other. They're trying to decide between purchasing or renting, if how much they'll need it.
Well, hopefully anybody that's hearing this morning, if we have another snow that's worthy of such equipment, they'll know where to get it.
Right. We don't get a lot of those that harden quick, it seems like, and that kind of stick around that long. It was right.
What's been going on since then? I mean, spring has not sprung, although Groundhog Day is Friday, I believe. That's what that means. You're about halfway through winter, I think.
I don't know if the meaning has changed for that over the year. I never can keep up. Does that mean more or less? Or?
Well, that old saying is, if the groundhog sees his shadow, you got 6 more weeks of winter weather.
Right.
But I think you have either way. We're approaching.
I'm not sure the groundhog's in charge of that. Are you?
Well, it's other than something to talk about.
That's right.
About all it is.
That's right.
Although I have a grandson who was born on Groundhog Day, he'll be 26 this Friday.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you can always, that's how you remember his birthday?
Yeah, that's how I remember his birthday, absolutely.
That's right.
Well, it's you have a lot. We have a lot to talk about. You have a lot to offer, and of course, your being here is one way of helping to spread the word and let people know about what all is available at Harris Trading, and you're there especially to push and promote whatever you have to rent. And so, I guess that's mostly where our conversation's directed each time.
Right. Right. We have gotten in several pieces of new equipment. We are rolling in every day. For example, we're really expanding our flatbed and gooseneck trailer, dump trailers, livestock trailers we have back in stock. And one that we haven't talked about before, we've gotten in a line of enclosed trailers, several different lengths of enclosed trailers, but these are solid tongue and groove type floors, steel walls, the heavy duty trailers. That's something that not just everybody carries. Some enclosed trailers are lighter weight for a purpose, for different equipment and things like that. But some people have a use for the heavy duty types. Something else, we've got a good selection now of the large 40-foot high cube containers that are, I don't know if you've ever seen these, that, most containers, the shipping containers have a door on one end.
Yeah.
we've gotten some in that has that door on one end, but also 4 doors completely down the sides. And it is extremely accessible for somebody storing. Storing any type of equipment, you can get to it. It's not stuff shoved way back in the back.
Right.
You've basically got a 40-foot walk-in closet. No, those are primarily for sale, though. That's really not something you can set on somebody's. We would probably do it if somebody wanted to think about a long-term commitment on a rental. We haven't, quite frankly, really discussed that, but we're always open to ideas like that. I always try to think on the rental side like that. And
we're about a minute away from going to a break here. I think we just might remind everybody that if you haven't been by 1331 Sparta Pike, so much has changed there in the last year, 6 months. I mean, you're continuing to add equipment. You're continuing to fill up your space there. There's a lot to see. In other words, you need to make a trip out.
We're filling it up every day, and with as much space as we have, we're finding ourselves searching for space. We're still trying to reorganize, and for example, for our trailers, for example, some of them that are trailers that are like each other, we keep them stacked up. They're not even all set out on the ground. We keep them stacked up like they were delivered, just simply for space at the moment. So there is a lot to see, and try to keep it where you have room to drive and walk through.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you're open for sure 6 days a week, and a little bit on Sunday afternoon.
Yes, we're currently through the winter. We're closing at 5:30 during the week, but we're 7 to 5:30 during the week, Monday through Friday, 7 to 4 on Saturday, and then we do have a guy that opens the lot for about 4 hours on Sunday, just primarily for people to come. Of course, they can purchase. But primarily if people want to drive through Sunday afternoon, from 11 to 3, drive through and look, because it is literally a place you can drive through like a big candy store.
All right, James Banhook's with us, Harris Trading Company, 1331 Sparta Pike right here in Lebanon. We'll talk more after this break here on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. This all brought to you by our friends at Absolute Kubota. High performance, high horsepower, 0% financing is still a thing. Now is the best time to save on new Kubota L-Series tractors, rated number 1 for durability and owner experience in the U.S. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main, 449-6171. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning, THB. Still out here trying to clean up this accident with some serious injuries in Rutherford County, 24 westbound, right at Joby Jackson. Again, it's just been a nightmare out here for folks trying to get in from Coffee County through this section of Rutherford County. Everybody's having to take an alternate route. You're being rerouted off the interstate there on 24 westbound because of the severity of this crash here at Joby Jackson. Still heavy I-40 trying to get past the airport there in Donaldson. As you make your way westbound, I-40 coming in from Wilson County, still very heavy. Prince's Hot Chicken has you covered for the big game coming up with catering. Check them out online at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
Hello, Phoenix fans. This is Randy Salas with Cumberland University Baseball. Believe it or not, the 2024 baseball season is almost here. The Phoenix will open their season on February 2nd and 3rd in Babson Park, Florida, with doubleheaders starting at 11:40 a.m. both days versus the Weber International Warriors and the Warner University Royals. Hear all the action on these radio stations or online at GoCumberlandAthletics.com as the Phoenix begin their journey towards a Mid-South Conference championship. Go Phoenix!
Go Texas. When I was in
Coleman & Company, we thank you for joining us. Actually, even though this morning a bit of frost and temperature in the very low 30s at the start, the sun's shining, and I think we're going to have a pretty nice day. It's going to be a great day to go to Harris Trading Company, right?
That's right. We have finally got out of those couple of weeks of of ice and freezing cold and snow and rain last week kept a little dampener on things, but
this week, I think the rest of the week, it looks fairly good.
Looks clear, yes, sir.
And you're probably going to make up for some of what you lost the last 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. We're gonna try to catch up. Even through this weather, we've still been getting in more equipment, like I was talking about, and really ramping up, trying to get an early start on the spring.
Yeah. We don't talk enough probably about your owners, Raymond Harris and Jacob Harris. They're the owners of Harris Trading Company. And, of course, James Van Hook is there, especially in charge of all the rental. You're trying really to get the rental side of it moving along with, and there's certainly a market for that, for the equipment that you have.
That's right. That's right. We just had, just for example, just over this past weekend, had some people come and rent some equipment that were fixing a set for a music video in Nashville.
Oh.
Came and renting trailers and little wheel loaders to move dirt around and things like that, setting up a music set. And I was actually able to go down there and see it over the weekend, and it was really a neat thing. You know?
Now, who would have thought that you'd have something that somebody like that would want to come and rent?
Exactly. I've kind of learned a little bit about that industry. I mean, there are people for every part of the process. You know, they hire people to set up sets, then clean up the sets, and whatever type of set it is, you know. And this, a lady happened to be out of Watertown, so they seen and heard about us being fairly close on that end of town, and inquired, and we took care of them. Yes.
And so part of your job was going and observing that.
Well, that just kind of worked out unexpectedly. Yes.
I'm not saying you got a cushy job, but that was probably enjoyable for sure.
Right.
A learning experience.
Right. Yes, sir.
Well, hopefully they'll spread the word, and you'll have more of that.
Right, and people that are working for that job, working on that job, have other businesses, and created some more relationships, and that's kind of what it's all about. You kind of try to take care of each customer and build that relationship, and word of mouth, and you know, it spreads, and that's what's helping us to get going. Absolutely.
Well, I'm looking at some notes you gave me a while back here, and it's talking about, we've already talked about a wide range of construction equipment, but agricultural equipment, as well as many types of trailers, which we talked about some, but golf carts, recreational vehicles.
Yes. Some of that stuff, golf carts, for example, we have a very large selection of them, more still coming in even through the winter. A lot of them we're keeping in our warehouse off-site to keep them out of the weather. Mm-hmm. We've got a few over at our location to look at. But
you rent those?
We do rent. We do rent those.
How can you rent one for the whole summer or something, or how do you?
Well, we haven't done that so far, but we'll be glad to make you a deal if you need one. It's primarily a daily or weekly. Mm-hmm. But people, we just got started really trying to push that towards the end of the season this past year, mm-hmm. and rented out a few of those. And there's been some businesses who've maybe have equipment like security companies and things like that. They have their equipment down and they need them for running around their property and things like that. They rent sometime.
There's just all sorts of situations.
Lots of situations.
Maybe most of us don't even imagine, don't even think about. But you come in contact with somebody mm-hmm. like that from time to time, and you've got to answer for them.
That's exactly right. They called and needing for personnel transport up at the fairgrounds, for example, at the James Ward Center. And speaking of that, you know, I'm involved in the fair as well as you are, and Harris Trading has been involved for the last few years and hoping to build up that relationship and provide more equipment and opportunities there too.
Yeah. Well, of course, Harris Trading Company itself is in the business to sell or rent. You're here mostly to push the rent, but you won't turn down a sale either.
That's right. I do sales also, and I try to also, as we're doing this, push sales partly because the other guys there primarily focus on sales. Mm-hmm. And I would like to mention while I was thinking about that, of course, we always mention our address and our phone number, 547-4033, and we're at harristradingcompany.com. But also, my other guys and myself have a Facebook presence, and you can really go on Facebook, especially on their sales side, and see a lot of equipment and through Marketplace and such as that. One of my guys set up under Harris Trading, and then one set up under HTC Sales, and then of course I set up under HTC Rental, getting that going, trying to just help get the word out,
Well, I guess every once in a while you have somebody that might have an idea for a piece of equipment you don't have. If that happens, if there's enough demand, you're going to have it before long.
That's right. That's what we're working on now, getting in more equipment. We got in a couple more of the little mini skids, for example, that use the small. I'm not sure if you're real familiar with that. It's
not really, but
a lot of them are the stand-on. They're the stand-on mini skids that operate it's kind of a downsized skid steer construction equipment. You get in smaller areas or just do smaller jobs. And a lot of people already have that equipment, and we have tons of attachments for those. Mm-hmm. You've got the buckets and the forks and the trenchers and the stump grinders, and it's just almost an endless list, and we have most of the things that people need for that. We just recently, for example, got in a load of a lot of tree handling material, tree shears. I made myself a list, and it is so much of it hard to remember. But drum mulchers, things like that for clearing land. A lot of that we're getting into renting, but also for sale. And you have wood chippers. That was the other one I was trying to think about. We're starting to get in some pull behind wood chippers, and then of course there's some for skid steer attachments front end. It's until I started here with Harris Trading, I didn't realize a lot of things that were available for equipment. Mm-hmm. I knew a little more on the agricultural side, but not as much on the construction side. And I still walk around out there every day like, wow, I didn't realize what that is.
With all the construction that's going on here, you ought to be having a field day with all of that. If you've got what the people need, they're either going to buy it or rent it from somebody, and
that's
it might
right.
well be you.
That's exactly right. And we, like you mentioned, people come in asking about certain items. A great majority of it we have. There's always going to be some things that people inquire about you don't have. But we look at that. We try to have everything anyone might need in these fields for sale for sure. But then we look at it, like you said, for rental. If it's something we're not already renting, we try to we consider it and see if it's something we can rent more than once. I mean, you can't take a newer piece of equipment and.
Well, it won't be long until people will start be taking care of their lawns, and people who have gardens will be turning some ground, getting ready to plant, this sort of thing. So I think you've got a number of things that they can rent.
Exactly right. We have the plows, disc, several different sizes of disc. We have tillers. We have a good selection of gear-driven tractor tillers. And, well, having said that, it always brings something else to mind. They're tillers for skid steers also. Yeah. But have a good selection of agricultural tillers. We've got your box blades, your rakes, your rear adjustable grader blades. I've got pull-behind mowers, self-contained mowers that you can pull behind a side-by-side or something like that for sale and for rent. I can just sit here and think of things. My mind is going up and down the rows of equipment that we have, trying to think of things.
Well, here again, really, if you want to know what's there, you almost got to come and see it.
You really do.
We can paint the best picture we can through the radio,
That's right.
But it's not like seeing it.
That's right, exactly. I made myself a note here earlier this morning. We've got a good selection of the concrete buggies that the construction guys use for transporting concrete from the truck to small job sites. The Cromiti brand, for example, is a very high-end brand of that. We've got something else we never mentioned. We keep a supply of bathrooms. I know that sounds kind of odd, and I'm not talking about the portable, what people know as porta-johns. I'm talking about portable bathrooms, 1 and 2 stalls, even that have showers that people set up in a semi-permanent situation. You actually connect, like at venues. People, I believe someone the other day bought a couple of them that are setting up a wedding venue. And you actually tie it into the plumbing, but it's semi-portable if they ever need to move it. You know, it's...
That's something new. I hadn't heard about that. That's something you need to see.
There's a ton of possibilities when you start looking at what's available out there. That's exactly right.
All right. Well, James, we are come to the end of our time here. We've got 30 seconds left this morning. A reminder, it's Harris Trading Company, 1331 Sparta Pike, just south of the Watertown exit on I-40. And your phone number is 615-547-4033.
Yes, sir.
And you're James Van Hook, and you'd love for people to come see you.
That's exactly right.
Well,
come out and see us. Ask for me.
We'll do it again next time.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Coleman.
Right. That's going to do it for a Tuesday. We've got a great one tomorrow on the Wednesday edition, and we hope you'll join us then. And until then, I wish you a terrific day.